Well, here's all the magic, everything you're sharing. So could you just share with our listeners what we were just talking about the five different districts that you oversee and then
Sure.
and how you
Yeah.
got into all of this? That we'd love
Yeah.
to hear your story.
Okay. So the County Office of Education plays a unique role. The County Superintendent of Schools is an elected official, and the law says that they superintend over the local school districts. So here in Yuba County, we have 5 school districts. We're a rural county north of Sacramento, a total of 14,000 students in the whole county. So we're a pretty
Wow.
small county, and we're a pretty small county office of education too. So we also are the liaison between the California Department of Education and our school districts. So we support our school districts through all of the accountability pieces, writing their strategic plans, helping them get those approved, helping them with their curriculum and instruction development. But then we also provide supports and services for the county's most challenged youth. So
Mm,
we run special education regional programs where we serve the school district's most moderate to severe special education students,
mm.
including the medically fragile. And then we also run we have a tri-county juvenile hall school. And then we also, and it has 2 programs in it. It's one school, but it's 2 different programs. One is for the juvenile hall side where youth are there waiting for their dispensation from the judge. So they'll be there really short term sometimes. Some are in there for the long haul. And then we also have a boot camp program, and
Mm.
it serves over 10 counties.
Oh,
So
wow.
that program, the juvenile justice program there, is also a regional program, and we provide educational services
Oh, this is
there.
beautiful. You're helping a lot of
Oh
people.
yeah, the most difficult to serve. And then we also have a county community school. And if you think about it in a pyramid and a tiered system of support, so the bottom tier is where all kids are provided a comprehensive school placement. And then the second tier is for a few students that aren't successful there. So I think of that second tier as being all of alternative education. So
Mm.
that would include our charter schools, our uh, high schools where kids are trying to recuperate credits, expulsion schools. And so you think about it like a highly functioning charter school, like an academic focused charter school, that would be closer down to the bottom of the tier, closer to comprehensive programs. Whereas our county community school would be up at the very tip top and serving those youth that even are not successful in our district's expulsion schools. So
Mm.
we have kids that are being expelled. They have significant behavior challenges. They're not successful there. So that's what our county community school actually serves those students. So it's those with the most intensive needs.
Yeah, the highest needs. Well,
Yep. So
God
that's
bless
what
you,
we do.
Bobbi.
Then we also have an amazing prevention services department where we do the tobacco prevention education, mental health, um, also foster youth services, homeless services. The county office provides support for the school districts and training and making sure that they are offering support and services to homeless and foster youth. And then also we have a youth advocacy department that focuses on a lot of services for juvenile justice involved youth too. So we have a hall to home transition program so that when kids get out of juvenile hall, then we support them and make sure that they're successful in returning to their schools and then in their communities as well too. So a lot of family support also.
This is incredible. And of all those various schools with all of the different types of support that you offer the students, it does that make up the I think the number was 14,000-ish. Is
So
that
that's all students in Yuba County are
great? Okay,
14,000.
got it. Well, you're helping a lot of kids. And then what's the
Yeah,
age range? K through 12?
K-12, yes.
K-12.
And we also do have an adult ed and
Okay.
CTE department as well too. So yeah, we county offices do a lot behind the
It's
scenes.
amazing. No, what you do is incredible. Thank you for
Yeah,
what you're doing, and
thank you.
I just it's such I just God bless you. That's all I can say.
Thank you.
And how important is it to you and all the various school districts that you oversee and work with to support the kids and their mental health? Because so much it seems to tie in through the social emotional learning, but also just their emotional health, and most importantly, I guess the question is, what are you guys doing to support their mental health, their anxiety, depression?
Well, certainly now more than ever,
Right,
right?
right,
In the midst of COVID, we were all hoping by now we'd be talking about post-COVID, but we're not there. We're still in the midst of it.
right.
And keeping in mind that at the county office level and the programs that we have for youth, they're already disengaged from their educational systems and services,
Right.
some because of behavior, some because of their special education needs, right? So that's always been first and foremost, right, is serving them. But now it really has become one of those tier one things
Hmm.
where we were already moving in that direction with multi-tiered systems of support rolling out across California, and recognizing that we needed to not only attend to the academic needs of a youth, the behavior needs of the youth, but what ties those together are their social emotional needs, right?
Absolutely.
But now with COVID upon us, and the lack of youth being able to socialize and be at school, we're a safety net for kids that need us the most, right? Some
Absolutely.
kids, they're not going to get fed. They're not going to get loved on. They don't feel safe and secure when they're at home. And
Mhm.
we become that for them, right? And to
Wow.
empower them. And that's what all good educators do. And I believe that educators get up in the morning and they look in the mirror and they say, I'm going to go do good stuff for kids today, right? And it just looks different depending on your role and responsibilities and what organization, that you're working with.
Yeah.
So we are providing, the county office provides support for all of our school districts to do PBIS, which is a school-wide system of support, where you are, um, PBIS stands for Positive Behavior Intervention and Supports.
Hmm.
So it builds a foundation on making sure that all kids are explicitly taught the behavior expectations. And then again, in that tiered way, for some kids, they need some more support. And for
Hmm.
some kids, they need some intensive support. And recognizing when they are following the expectations, they get rewarded instead of it being a punitive discipline situation. We also provide restorative practice training and support for our school districts. And that is, again, that restorative, approach where, you are part of our community. And instead of shunning naughty children and sending them home and excluding them, it is, if you have to suspend them, you have to suspend them. But then when you bring them back, you bring them in and you say, hey, what were you thinking? What was going on? And then you help the youth be able to make better decisions by keeping them in the community so they're connected and they want to be productive citizens in their communities, right?
Absolutely. Because if
Yeah,
someone is kicked out and refused and punished over and over, there's no incentive to
that's right.
improve or to do well. So if you're just loving on them and
Yep,
loving on them and loving on them and encouraging them and
yep,
supporting them,
yep.
eventually they feel that love and that support, that
Well,
encouragement.
and at the same time, a lot of people think, oh, you're just letting them get away with everything, right? But that's not true. There's a high level of
Sure.
accountability built
Absolutely.
into these, systematic school-wide and school district-wide practices too. And so it's really that balance. I was an alternative ed teacher, And I like to think of it as kind of like putting your arm around their shoulder, right? That's kind of a neck hold. And then, kicking them in the butt at the same time, right? And
Right.
I raised 4 kids, and 2 of my kids got a lot of that, right?
Well, you're a mom, so
But
moms know everything.
yeah,
And
yeah,
teachers, you combine the
yeah,
two, that's the ultimate. So
yeah,
that is so
yeah,
cool. I love what you guys are doing. I
yeah.
think that's just incredible, and especially because you have the most students that need it the most. They're at the highest risk, and the fact that you just give them all of that support and encouragement and different various programs and all the love that they need is just so they can feel seen, they can feel heard, and they can feel valued. So I just really appreciate everything that you do, Bobbi,
Thank you.
and thank you so much. Oh, one last question: if you were to have any thoughts on what you'd love to see more of, things that you find that are really helpful in your county that maybe other counties may or may not be aware of, things that are working really well for supporting their mental health, or things you'd like to see more of.
Well, I think one of the things that really is amazing about Yuba County. So in my role, um, I'm part of a committee that is underneath the County Superintendent Schools Educational Association, right? And it's the Curriculum and Instruction Steering Committee. And so, there's 58 of us, one of us representing each county. And we come together and we talk about all the things that we have to do, right? And we interface with the CDE, California Department of Education, and talk about what's this going to look like in the field, right? So, lawmakers make these laws and roll these things out, and then we got to figure out, working with CDE, what's this really going to look like, right?
Right.
And as we are sitting in our regional tables, there's discussions. And when I was new to the group, right, I'm just in awe. And this is my 11th year here. So,
Wow.
but when I was a newbie, I was just in awe of these amazing county leaders, right? But what I learned was I really had something to offer because Yuba County is highly collaborative across agency partnerships.
Mm.
So we partner with Health and Human Services, we partner with CPS, we partner with law enforcement, both our local police department and our county sheriff's department. We have programs in our jails where we're teaching inmates and getting them
Wow.
their high school diplomas, extremely successful. With
Awesome.
probation, just with victim services, with everybody, our businesses, right? The school districts. So, and what I heard, the feedback I got was, well, how are you making that work? How did you ever get that contract, that MOU in place with that agency? And I was like, well, I don't know. I don't even know if we have an MOU. We just do business that way. So it really is an amazing countywide community that everybody just kind of rolls up their sleeves and says, what are we going to do, to work together to get great things done for our youth in the county. So
That's amazing. A group of amazing people all working together
that's
for the
right.
same
It's
common
awesome.
goal. Yeah.
So, but I do want to share with you in the audience because, I'm really blessed. Right. I'm really blessed. I've been in education for over 30 years now. It's my second career. When I was young, I wanted to be a teacher, but then I got, sidetracked. But then I came back to it. But I was a high school dropout, Mike. And I grew up in the Bay Area and had a single working mom. She's an amazing mom. I was so blessed to have such a beautiful parent as her. And she lives near me now, and we're still just as close.
Hmm.
But, I did not engage in school,
Hmm.
right? And I always, I'm okay telling my story. But when I got into this position, because, well, let me say, I was a teacher's aide for 5 years. And during that time, I went back to school. I graduated from college when I was 35, right? I was in a blended family. We were raising these 4 kids together with other sets of parents, very challenging. And then I started substituting. and as a teacher. And then I got hired as an alternative education teacher by a county office, but on a school district in a middle school class called an opportunity program for kids that weren't successful in the regular classes. And I didn't go through the teacher program. I was hired as an intern. So I just kind of had to figure things out on my own. So I
Mhm.
guess I was meant to do all of this,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then I transferred over to the school district, and for 1 year I ran the community day school for expelled youth in Orleans Unified School District. And then I got an opportunity to become a vice principal at a high school. And then from there, I became a principal at a middle school. And from there, an elementary school principal for 5 years before I got my dream job coming to a county office of education.
Wow.
So I have this very broad set of experiences that has really prepared me to take a holistic, creative, out of the box kind of approach to everything that we have to do. School didn't work for me. School didn't work for two of my own children. And yet the other two were A students and it worked, right? So it wasn't necessarily my kids were broke. It wasn't necessarily that the school system was broke, but it's just recognizing that our schools need to be responsive to who our children are in their family systems, in their community systems, and in our larger state and national systems, and more importantly, in the world that we're living in. We really need to not make it about what we think it needs to look at, but truly with our hearts, listen and be responsive to what our kids need.
That's incredible. That all of this was amazing, Bobbi, but those last 5 minutes, unbelievable. I think I may even just cut out some of that and put it in the beginning because your story, wow,
Yeah,
that's
thank
so
you.
beautiful. Thank you for sharing that because I'm
Yeah,
sure there's many listeners that are thinking that's a really similar story to me. I mean, because even when you were opening up and sharing, Bobbi, it made me think about my struggles in school because I grew up with struggling with anxiety and depression, and I didn't understand why, even as young as in third grade. So I was just a little kid. And school to me was really challenging because I was getting bullied every day and getting picked on just because of my anxiety and depression, just because I was acting a little different than everyone else. And it was like going to a war zone every day instead of a
that's
safe,
right.
loving
Yeah,
place. So I really struggled in school too. And I think it's so beautiful and such a obvious that you're living your divine purpose, Bobbi, because you struggled in school and yet you still went on to be a substitute teacher, then a teacher, then the principal of a high school, principal of a middle school, then a principal of an elementary school, then you get the county
yeah,
gig. It's like you're doing everything and you've experienced all of the different age groups and all the ups and downs and the personal struggle, and your two kids that I guess excelled in school and the other two struggled. So you've
yeah,
seen it all.
yes,
That's
yeah,
incredible. Wow. It's just, and it's amazing. I just really, it's such an honor to have you on the show today.
thank
And
you.
thank you for sharing your inspiring story
Yeah,
and the message that mainly it helped me if I got it wrong. At the very end, it seems like you're saying you're hoping on a more global level to have the whatever it is, whatever the academics are, whatever the focus is constantly be getting maybe feedback from students. Is this helping? Are you
what do they
feeling,
need? What do
yeah,
they need? Yeah.
what do they
We
need?
used to talk, they talk about the pendulum swinging
Right,
back and forth in education.
right,
We went to this whole child. How can you ever not think about the whole child?
right,
Right. And I
right.
mean, I can relate to what you said because as I reflect back, I didn't drop out of high school. I dropped out of third grade.
Oh wow, okay. Well, third grade's
Right.
a tough year. I get it. It
I
was for
had
me
I
too.
had a very dysfunctional family life, and my
Mm.
father was still there. And so I was shunned. My dad had mental health issues and the whole neighborhood knew it. And so I was shunned,
Mm.
right? And back then they didn't have wraparound services.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I didn't get what I needed. And so I think that we need to look at every kid and what does this kid need? We have individual learning plans for every kid. And we look at the social emotional needs, the academic needs, the behavior supports that need to be there, their college and career readiness, you know, exactly, you know, what does this kid need? And every kid is different.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. As a mom, you know best. And I'm sure if I asked my mom, there are 4 kids, the same. All 4 of us
Yeah,
are different. So
yeah,
it's, yeah. And everyone has different needs, different things they excel at, different ways of learning. Some are
yeah,
more visual, some are more audio, and some are more
yes,
kinesthetic. So it's all, yeah, it's
yeah,
all, every student has a
yeah,
different way of
yeah.
learning.
And helping them explore and learn who they are as
Right.
they grow up so that they can be, you know, an adult that's, you know, in a positive part of their community too, and feel good about themselves also.
Absolutely. Well, that's one thing in school personally, I struggled with, especially with ADD, reading. We used to have to read out loud in class. And every time before it got to me, if there
Yeah,
were 3 people ahead, when it was 3, I was pretty nervous. 2, my hands were sweating. One
yeah,
person in front of me, I was trembling. Then it got to me and it was just a disaster. But
yeah,
now I have everything on Audible. Everything
right,
is here on my phone. So I just have the phone and I listen to the Wall Street Journal every morning or the Washington Post or whatever, New York Times.
yeah,
And it's just wonderful. I go on a hike and I listened. It's instead
yeah,
of reading the whole paper,
yeah,
it's read to me. So
yeah,
maybe everyone has a different way of
yeah.
learning.
And for me, it was PE. You know,
Oh, cool.
I'm really tall and slender.
Hmm.
And so, but you know, so when I was in junior high, it was, oh, are you going to play basketball? And I'm like, I can't even dribble a ball.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Me either.
seriously,
I'm the
right?
same.
You know, so back in elementary school, everybody did like the four square, you know, or the handball. You know, I
Oh,
couldn't
right.
do it. There was no way. That scared me to death. I used to hide in the closet in the classroom so I didn't have to go out to recess,
Yeah,
right? You
I
know,
get
and
that.
then yeah, you know, and now, right, my husband, Mr. MVP in every sport, doesn't even have to try, right? I mean, I can't even throw the ball for the dog, you
Hmm.
know?
Well, I get it. For me, it was math. I struggled with math. My brother was a math wizard and a biomedical engineer from one of the top schools in the country, straight A's, summa cum laude. And I'm like, I got a D minus. I passed. I passed math. So it's just, yeah. Everyone, all of us, I guess, have different God-given gifts and skills.
That's
So,
right.
and
That's
everyone matters. Everyone that's listening, you matter. You have
yeah,
value. You're so important. And just like Bobby's saying, whatever method or means by which you learn, that's great. There's no right or wrong, and every kid needs something different. And your teachers love you, and everybody there is there to support you. So,
yeah.
Bobby, thank you so much. You were amazing. That was awesome.
Gosh, do we have to stop talking? Can't we just spend the
I,
day together,
I
Mike?
know, I know, it's great. I love this. This
Come
is,
back,
yeah.
come back, come see us. Come
I,
see us up here in amazing Yuba County.
I would love to. I definitely would love that. So thank you so much for being
You're
with us,
welcome.
Bobby.
You're welcome.